Okay. Now we're going to talk about the future of Saudi Arabia. Crown Prince 2023 Mohammed bin Salman, who actually gave the only English-speaking interview to fucking Fox News. He had an interpreter for everybody else, but for Fox News, he spoke in English, apparently. I wonder why.
Good evening. I'm Brett Baer. We are coming to you live from Sindala Island, a very windy Sindala Island in Saudi Arabia on the Red Sea.
He's back doing the red carpet shit, dude. He's doing his whole like charm offensive again. It's been a long enough time since they murked fucking Jamal Khashoggi. So now he's back. He's back to fucking hitting the media. And of course, by the way, predictably, as always, they are fucking taking it. They're hook, line, and sinker, okay? They are literally giving him the greatest press tour of all time. So this is part of the reason why I always laugh at dumb motherfuckers who are like, dude, what? You're defending China and saying it's not fascist? Wow, you must literally fucking be a Nazi Germany defender. It's like, no, I'm not. But have fun with that, I guess. And it's like such a disingenuous take because like this is the very same media. This is the very same ally that we have. It's not like it's not a real thing. I thought it was Jamal Khashoggi. Wait, yeah, it is. Like this guy straight up gets to fucking go. Like people literally, the same liberals who think like China or the same Republicans especially that think like China is fucking the most damaging, devastating, scariest country on the fucking planet will look at Saudi Arabia and go, this is great. Love it. Also, yes, in a cartel with Russia, which is also great. I think you focus so much on that instead of workplace democracy. Man, suck my fucking workplace democratic dick, okay? Suck my dick in a democratic way in the workplace. The fuck do you mean that you think about that too much? Yeah, domestic policy and socialism is great. But, like, I also do a tremendous amount of fucking regular old foreign policy coverage here, okay?
See, where it is 1 o'clock Thursday morning. Tonight, an exclusive in-depth interview with one of the most powerful people in the world, Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. We will cover a number of subjects, including U.S. relations with the kingdom, Iran nuclear ambitions, negotiations with Israel, Saudi oil policy, the murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, and the Crown Prince's message to families of victims of the 9/11 attacks. This is the first time he has done an interview completely in English. Usually on Special Report road shows, this is the time we bring you other headlines in the U.S. and around the world. But tonight, there are so many headlines coming out of this interview, we do not want to delay. Here is His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. This is the island of Sindala, the first project in NEOM, your Vision 2030. It is spectacular. It is really beautiful. You know, a lot of people have described you as a visionary leader. I talked to a number of your citizens, and that's how they describe you. And you didn't even plant them. That's really how they talk about you. And world leaders are saying the same thing. You've had this transformational change, every aspect of the kingdom, economic, social, cultural, religious. Can you give us some specific examples of what your goals are and how you think all of this is going?
Well, simply, we have in the past few issues in Saudi Arabia and a lot of opportunities that we didn't use. We're trying to capture that and to go forward for a better Saudi Arabia. And that's what we're trying to do.
And it's a big vision.
It is a big vision, and we get like surprised every day that we reach our target faster, and we extend that to a newer target and a bigger ambition. So it's really exciting.
Your ministers say you work them hard.
Well, you can see in 2022 we are the fastest G20 country growing, and also in this year, if you take just the non-oil GDP part, we are the second fastest in the G20 growing. So it's like a fight between Saudi Arabia and India, a good fight.
You're making a transition on trying to get different parts of the economy, not a heavy reliance on oil. The role of women in the society has evolved significantly. you had this 2030. What do you see 10, 20, 30 years for Saudi Arabia?
I will give you an example. If you look to late 70s, Saudi Arabia GDP is bigger than South Korea. And now South Korea, I think it's the 10th or 11th largest GDP in the world in 2016. And 2016 we are number 20. So that's a shame. In 1980, we was GDP number, I think, 12 globally. And then in 2016 we are number 20. So we believe if Saudi Arabia and really the perfect track, since that time we will be among the top 7 GDP globally. I'm trying to get Saudi Arabia back on the right track.
You're a data guy.
We can see today. Today we are the largest, number 17 ranked as the largest GDP in the world. But in G20 we are almost ranked number 15 from 20 in just a few years.
The G20, you just mentioned it. You really have become a big player on the world stage. And that G20 rail and ports deal connecting Europe, the Gulf nations, and India, why is that such a big deal?
Logistics is important. If you want to manufacture in your country, if you want to move goods, it's important to have a good logistic plan. You work it with many countries, many regions, to be sure that goods pass in the right time.
Dude, it's like... It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild how great this is, where like American racism takes or even Islamophobia takes a backseat to like America's foreign policy interests. Like, it's kind of cool seeing it in action. You know what I mean? Because like, this is a fucking dude who literally like looks the part of someone that Americans would be like absolutely terrified of. Okay? And he also plays the role of someone who you should be definitely scared of, right? I mean, this dude's got fucking bodies, like directly bodies. This dude has his own family captive. Okay? And it's really interesting to see like people just have him on and be like, this is a head of state. And not like a vicious theocratic monarchy that is currently or was actively engaging in genocide in Yemen. Very interesting thing to see.
For example, that project will cut the time of goods from India to Europe by 3 to 6 days. Cut time, save money, and it's more safer, more efficient. So why not? And it's not about only moving goods and railways and ports. It's also about linking grids, energy grids, data, cables, and other stuff will benefit Europe, Middle East, and also India. And most of these energy, all of these energy going to be a green energy that's going to be produced in the Middle East and being exported to Europe and India. So it's a big deal for us and for Europe and for India.
Also mentioned in this deal is Israel. What would it take for you to agree to normalize relations with Israel?
Well, there is approach from President Biden administration to get to that point. For us, the Palestinian issue is very important. We need to solve that part, and we have a good negotiations continue till now. We gotta see where it will go. We hope that it will reach a place that it will ease the life for the Palestinians and get Israel back, as a player in Middle East.
There were reports that you had suspended talks.
No, that's not true.
Not true. So you think, if you were to characterize it, are you close?
Every day we get closer. It seems it's for the first time a real one, serious. We gotta see how it goes.
Can you make a deal with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Is that somebody you can deal with?
Well, in Saudi Arabia policy, we don't interfere of who's running each country, who's there. We work with him. Now we don't have a relation with Israel, but if Biden administration succeeded to make, I believe, the biggest historical deal since the end of the Cold War, then...
Like, okay, one other aspect of this that's also interesting. Like, yeah, sure, Brandon is currently the president, but he's played such a significant role in the OPEC Plus cartel refusing to increase the supply, even though the American government under the Trump administration was very kind and didn't absolutely fucking eviscerate their bottom line and kept at least purchasing a steady flow of oil, even if they didn't necessarily need it. It's like so, I don't know, it's just so fucking frustrating that, like, even from the perspective of, like, being, like, a patriotic guy, Fox News doesn't see that, like, this man is quite literally for, like, at least one aspect of inflation. Now, it's not personally him as much as, you know, Russia is a part of it too. Remember you having to explain how the Taliban was now Afghanistan's government to those same libs? Yeah, I'm half Saudi, and Saudi state media is 100% pro-Trump. He sees himself as a visionary ruler. Everything he's touched has been an absolute disaster. Yemen, Neom, restoring Saudi leadership in the region. Even the shakedown at the embassy in Turkey is a total fuck up. Yeah, I mean, the Neom shit's crazy. Not correct. Trump actually fucked over MBS. He got MBS to increase production in 2018 by promising to restrict Iranian oil exports. He didn't do that, and the price crashed. No, wait. I thought we were kind to OPEC during COVID though. Trump even personally tried to, and this is real, purchase an absolute shit ton of oil, and during COVID to boost our reserves, which actually would have been a good job, and Congress shut him out, which doesn't really matter because Trump still acts like he went and he bought the oil in every interview. 2018 is pre-COVID. I know. I'm saying that, like, it is kind of interesting because he always says, like, I bought oil, I built up our reserves. It's like, no, he tried to. Congress said no to him. Like, they would not allow him to do so. And yet he still acts like he did that.
We got to start a relationship, and that relationship gonna be continuous regardless of who's running Israel. So.
Oh my God. People are still fucking losing their minds, dude. Look at this. China is in a whole slew of insults to a single reputation. China is an authoritarian state that uses impressive media control apparatus to lock down information in the country and force consent in their populace. The U.S. is bad. We manufacture consent in a better way, but we still do it. But China is not good. No state is good. They're all oppressive structures. Okay, never mind. I actually don't necessarily disagree with this. But at least according to the United States of America, confidence from the Chinese people in their own government is significantly higher than confidence in the American government from its own people. One is 30%, the other one's like 90%. Even if you think that 90% number is like completely massaged by a complete control over the media apparatus or whatever the fuck, or genuine fear, you know, what percentage is it? Like, is it that effective? It must be the most effective brainwashing mechanism on the planet, which you could technically immediately find out if it's true or not by talking to a Chinese person. Even though many of them are legitimately fearful, at least in my experience, of Americans and their perspective on China, which is why more often than not, they just won't say anything. Because if you are like a straight up Chinese person living on U.S. soil or living in the Western world, conversations I've had where Chinese people literally think I'm joking with them and being sarcastic and shitting on them when I talk about China in like on even grounds. They're shocked because of how used to it they are to be like, social credit, mass surveillance, you fucking bad, China bad. Anyway, every American professional China watcher I know confirms that support for the central government in China is genuinely high. For the doubters, yeah. And this is not even, I mean, dude, it makes sense. It makes sense. If you are one generation removed from like seeing a tremendous amount of global poverty, I get it. I get why you would have confidence in your government and confidence in Chinese prosperity. Turkboy stuns Chinese diaspora with perfect China takes. Yeah, that's what I should do.
I mean, he's 73, you're 38.
Oh my God, this guy's back. Does China allow unions, though, or actual worker democracy? Fuck no, of course not. Technically, every worker is a part of the Chinese Communist Party. But, the Communist Party of China, whatever. It's just, but no. Workplace conditions have improved dramatically over the course of the past couple of decades. But no, of course, there is no fucking workplace democracy. At Hasan, that's all I'm saying. What are you saying? I don't understand. Like, no one is saying that the workers in China are living in this like utopian fucking structure. Like, I've never said that, at least. Anyway.
But you think maybe there's a chance you could deal with them?
If we have a breakthrough of reaching a deal.
I think that makes me really frustrated in Middle East commentaries, how hard you go on the Saudis and not the Iranis, even though both are theocratic and both are responsible to terrorism in the Middle East. Funnily enough, both are involved in the same proxy war in Yemen too, and oppressive of minorities. That's a great question. The real reason why is because one is doing it with the go-ahead of the United States of America and getting like actual structural support from the United States of America. The other one is being owned by the United States of America, in spite of the fact that, much like China in World War II, for example, they were technically aligned with the United States of America on its war on terror. That's the reason why I think like one is not the same as the other. I am always going to be way, way, way more aggressive towards our allies. Okay? I'm always going to be way more aggressive towards America's allies who get to do whatever the fuck they want. China has workers' unions. Every company is technically unionized, and every single person who works is technically a part of the Communist Party as well. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's like a tremendous amount of back and forth and collective bargaining agreements and workplace negotiations. But there is certainly improvements in the workplace conditions in China over the course of the past couple of decades. But that kind of improvement oftentimes has come from a centralized control rather than each individual company implementing shit on their own. Does that make sense? At least as far as I know. Maybe I'm totally wrong on this and you guys will own me or something. Would you rather live in Iran or Saudi Arabia? I don't fucking want to live in either of those places. But as an American, I don't know. By definition, that is not socialism without workplace democracy. It means the production being in the hands of the workers. No, you thought us this? Oh my God. Oh my God. I know, dude. I know. Which is why I say China claims to be a transitional socialist state, but I wouldn't go that far. But I do think that they've made great improvements in developing their fucking developing their country in a very even way for and have done it in a way to focus on need rather than profits. Okay? Then why do you keep shitting on China? What? When people say companies like Shine use child labor, that's an exaggeration or a lie. China workforce will see more value for their labor at a higher rate than the American workforce in the next 50 years. One of China's W's actually seen with corpos moving their manufacturing to India because the CCP is raising the wages for non-skilled labor. I don't like China, but I'll give them that. Yeah, I that's actually a criticism in my opinion. And China itself is doing that too, for the record. China itself is working on building secondary labor markets so that their manufacturing stays relatively cheap, and they're doing it in other fucking countries. They're relying on low wage labor in other countries because their material conditions have improved too much. Yeah, they're literally outsourcing, which is crazy. One country, two systems. 27 month subscriber. No fucking way, dude. What is this? What is happening? I feel like people develop ridiculous feelings towards me and my commentary or something, and then they trail off and like see someone be like very convincingly telling you that I'm wrong, and then they immediately are like, "Oh my god, my world is opened up." Like, exercise some critical fucking thinking, please, okay? Like, exercise critical thinking on what I say, exercise critical thinking on what you hear others say about me, okay? And then, like, make up your own mind. Just, I don't know. It was overall, I think that was a very productive conversation. There's 0% chance that like the hangups that people have off of that are coming in a genuine way. Okay? Like, it would be shocking. You have to be getting massaged a narrative or something. Like a totally biased perspective on it, I suspect. Too much China talk. If the next decade is just going to be Americans going insane when China takes all over global markets, I'm going to lose my mind. Yes, that is what's going to happen. But the one advantage will be that there is no top of the hour ad break in China because every Chinese person is using a VPN to watch Twitch. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break unless you're in Beijing, in which case you'll not see the ad. Of course, if you live in America, you will see it. Apparently, when it comes to discussing any state where people have already decided certain states are good and bad, if you don't agree, then you're bad because critical thinking is impossible and having valid criticisms or even outlining the pros of a certain state is not allowed. Don't forget when you correctly point out that these people are fed a narrative and they get mad and say you're brainwashed. Yes. Not only do they say I'm brainwashed, but they say like it is always I'm a Nazi. Like, that's the other part of it. It's like, wow, Hasan would defend Hitler. It's like, really? You think I would do that? That doesn't demonstrate how fucking insane you are? Hasan is a tanky. Hasan is a Nazi. Hasan is a social democrat capitalist. Shows me, at the very least, that these people have no consistency and they're just shit-slinging. And the reality is a lot of people also will repeat that kind of narrative that they hear from someone else and just simply chirp in here thinking that they've made a cogent point when they haven't, you know? Not at all. From that conversation, genuinely upset me. You kept pivoting away from whatever Ethan said that you couldn't immediately answer and just generally talked around his points and didn't actually succinctly answer anything he asked you. You prove you have no way to scale what you preach and your beliefs seemed skin deep. I know for a fact that you would do a better job, Chatter, if you were to describe how to build a socialist society from the ground up. Certainly. I never thought I would hate people more than conservatives who lives in NATO enemies are the worst. I don't think that Chatter has a brain, to be honest. Ignore them. No, I think that I would. I mean, this person maybe has valid critiques. I am not going to immediately think that a 36-month subscriber is like genuinely brain broken. You know what I mean? The newest line is that your talking points is that you would side with the Nazis, and even if you didn't side with China and the USSR, which were even worse than the Nazis. Yeah. Not trying to attack you, but why didn't you bring up Ocean Spray or Nebula or Maximum Fun? Actually, Ocean Spray is the one that immediately came to mind, but I did bring up Mondragon, which is, again, like things that you didn't hear maybe, or things that you did not consider to be like a more formative, more important point were adequately addressed. Not only were they adequately addressed, but I brought up HasanAbi's fucking podcast, Fear and. So like, we spent a good amount of time talking about cooperative corporations and how they can be structured, which is so odd. Like, I gave Ethan and Chatters, more importantly, concrete examples of real existing cooperative corporations. Not only did I give an example of, like, again, I mentioned Mondragon briefly, but I also personally talked about how I operate and how I've been operating, which is so odd. Like, did you fucking close your ears and go, la, 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 I can't hear you? I think your biggest fault is being a bit long-winded / high-level in your attempts to build out context. Listeners with no historical understanding, including Ethan, thought you were moving away from the point rather than connecting the dots. It's incredibly difficult, in my opinion, to describe to someone with no background, because I'm not just talking to Ethan, okay? What? Ethan didn't seem to be understanding. It might not have just been you. Wait, what? Okay. I'm not going to like talk about Ethan's performance in this conversation by yelling at a chatter. I'm not doing that. Also, the teams in a corporation should get to vote on what they do. I think this wasn't brought up. Like, I work on the engineering team. I vote on what practices are within his teams. It's not that wild. I did bring that up. It is definitely insane if you personally think that a 3-hour conversation about socialism in action and all of the faults and failures that will inevitably happen in hypothetical situations that the conversation is like moving towards. You had it over a week to come up with talking points and you were floundering the entire time. Okay, never mind. This guy's a fucking absolute baboon. I take it back. I didn't even remotely prepare for this. And if you think that that shows, well, that's on you, because I think that overall the performance was very good. You just want me to fucking destroy him or something. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, incredibly silly. I hate when chat gets in their critique the streamers' debate methods bag. These debate lord losers think their opinion actually matters. I know. Do you want me to fucking pull you in right now to the chat, Schlib Bibler, so you can give me a fucking perfect demonstration? You're getting farm. Move on. Come on. Go ahead. Give me a perfect demonstration of how socialism would work. You want to do that? You want to do that? You're a 36-month subscriber. I'm sure you've learned a lot here. I feel like you got it. It was a major talking point during the last conversation. I knew it would be important since it was brought up multiple times after a conversation last week. First of all, we never even talked about socialism versus socialism in the workplace or anything like that. And secondly, regardless of my lack of preparation, I think it was very good. So go ahead. I've learned a lot here. I'm currently mobile though. Oh, okay. Damn it, dude. Fuck. Shit. If you were on a desktop though, you would have fucking shown everybody here. I think you would have probably rewritten the fucking Communist Manifesto. Like, better than Marx could, in my opinion. Marks and angles are fucking lame, brother. I've been reading memes for 36 months, okay? Let me tell you, I got you. Like, you get so upset? Of course I get upset because you're a fucking idiot. Like, this is why I get upset, because you're a fucking dumbass who thinks they know better, okay? I do this fucking professionally, and it's, of course, frustrating when some random dumb fuck is chirping about this. And then now we're debating, like, my debate performance instead of, like, the actual issues, okay? Why does this sudden behavior from long-term subs seem similar to what certain band streamer was talking about when he said that he wanted to Sam Cedar you? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, but I really don't even want to know. Okay? Please. Like, I know for a fucking job. I know for a fucking fact that no matter what happens, okay, no matter what happens in this situation, I pull someone in, they're going to use my talking points to be like, actually, here's how this works. It's stupid. I hate it. I hate having these conversations. Just want to say that besides the usual weirdos brigading, a lot of people in the comments on the subreddit are questioning their beliefs. You did a good job. I know, but it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter because ultimately, no matter what happens, okay? No matter what happens, the narrative it will forever be tarnished by those who want to swing it in whichever direction they want to. I will never in a million years be able to get this across. And at the end of the day, those who have the capacity to listen will understand what I'm saying, and those who just want to fucking shit stir will continue along with that narrative. Okay? This is not my first fucking rodeo. This is why I hate doing this kind of thing. Because immediately we just like get into smarmy, annoying, self-entitled dickheads who think that they would be a really good job of convincing people when, like, I'm sorry, dude, there's not that many fucking alternatives to people with actual large followings that do nonstop socialist agitative propaganda, okay? Like, I know it's like, I feel like I'm sucking my own dick here, but like, shut the fuck up. Like, I know what I'm doing, and you don't, okay? But it's not an accident that anytime we even like remotely engage with debate, chat fucking flips on a dime and becomes like unfucking bearable. Okay? And it's not even that wasn't even a debate, but it's like still frustrating. It's so much easier to just fucking immediately dismiss people who are not ostensibly on my side. It's so much easier to just like, yeah, chat topping paragraphs to argue debate rhetoric and not the actual talking points is like what is deeply frustrating to me. It's so much easier to just like have someone in here come in and be like, I'm a right winger. This is what I believe. Fuck you. Here's why you're wrong. I can have that conversation any day of the week. But when fucking people come in here and they're like, I'm actually a fucking Marxist Leninist, and let me tell you, like, you did a really bad job with this debate because the debate performance was not that good. It was not up to my expectations. That makes my fucking brain switch because I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay? I despise this shit. Go read a fucking book, okay? And then these dumbasses are like, I wonder why Hasan doesn't do debates all the time. It's not because like, oh man, I'm worried about my performance or anything. I don't give a fuck. I think I do a pretty decent job overall. I've debated plenty of fucking people. It's just that no matter what happens, any single conversation turns into like proxy wars with other YouTubers that have their own personal motivations and a lot of dumbasses who like don't realize that they're personally fucking repeating those talking points. And it's very stupid. At that point, you didn't learn anything. You're just like engaging in the toxic debate culture with no real reason and no real purpose. Okay? I mean, I don't know. Brahma, ML, you did and continue to do very well. No, it's not Marxist-Leninist anyway. It's people claiming to be that way when they're not. Where'd that dumbass go? Who's like, and then at the end of the day, the other side of this conversation is like, I banned someone, and then like 3 months later, they're like, I'm really sorry about this, by the way. I was drunk, or I'm really sorry. I was in a really, really fucking a bad mood at the time, and I just took it out on you. But it doesn't matter because this shit got clipped out already, and now it's gonna be fucking all over. Everyone's gonna be like it's gonna be like the Catboy 2.0. Hasan yells at one of his chatters, you know, because he can't handle a little bit of fucking pushback. And it's like, it's not just pushback. It's like someone being smarmy and don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Anyway. Change my mind, being a streamer kind of sucks. No, of course it sucks. Fucking awful. It's just like the best part of being a streamer is your community, and it's also simultaneously the worst part. Anyway. I think, okay, this is what is so fucking frustrating to me, dude. Look, first of all, you said that conversation genuinely upset me, and now you're sucking my cock, okay? Look at this. Oh, I just think you were a bit long-winded and didn't really understand what Ethan was saying. Be a fucking man. Don't be a fucking pussy, okay? Say it with your goddamn chest. This is 7 deviations removed from this, okay? Oh, hustle. Last thing I'll say, because I'm done being in a parking lot, not saying I'd do better. I was just hoping for a more succinct opinion. Like, shut the fuck up. Just be a fucking real human with a goddamn backbone, dude. That's such fucking bullshit. You said this conversation genuinely upset me. You kept pivoting away from whatever Ethan said that you couldn't immediately answer and just generally talked around his points. It's not even true. I have to, and I've told this so many times, if you want to be a fucking progressive debater or a progressive storyteller, you have to build the world because people cannot fucking see the world beyond the capitalist dogma, the framework that they've literally been born with. You might take it for granted after 36 months of being here, but you can't have a fucking conversation with someone and immediately dive into the labor theory of value because you're not just having a conversation with that person, you're having a conversation with 30,000 people that are, a lot of them also have liberal points of view. And hey, if you don't want to believe me, look no further than the many people that are in here whose minds have changed throughout the many years, probably including yourself, okay? This is why I always say, I know what the fuck I'm doing. I have to gradually describe every single fucking facet because automatically you go into fucking democracy in the workplace and the first thing that people do, because it's capitalist dogma, is, oh, that means the janitor is going to behave like the CEO, right? Like the janitor is going to come in and fire me. Explaining each individual step, piece by piece, and trying to create a larger narrative is what is an absolute fucking necessity because there's no other way. It's not a pivot away. It's to give the other person, if you're having a genuine conversation, it's to give the other person the pieces of the puzzle so they can arrive at the conclusions that you've made. Now, the reason why I'm walking you through this, I'm holding your hand and walking you through this step by step, is because that's what I do. This is what I do professionally. So, yes, I do get very frustrated when I hear people that immediately pop off and go, you did this wrong, okay? Have a little bit of faith. Have a little bit of faith in what I'm doing. After all, you're in here because you trust and understand what I'm doing. I've probably changed your mind as well. There is no way that you can just go directly into this conversation and start fucking talking about labor theory of value without describing, for example, the inherent class antagonism that exists under capitalism. Okay? Fine, man. When Ethan asks questions and you pivot away, I'll put the timestamps in the YouTube comments and put them in here later. You have changed my mind. Stop being a fucking butthurt. I'm literally just giving you criticism. Go ahead. Send the fucking timestamps and I'll explain away that as well. There was not a single fucking aspect of that conversation where I was like pivoting away. If you thought I was pivoting away, that's your own personal hang up. But again, like, you didn't even do any of the substance here. You're specifically talking about optics. This is liberal pervertry. Okay? It's so fucking annoying. Optics, 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 debate optics, debate optics. It's fucking stupid. Oh. Anyway. Making you react harder to your conversation than when the chair reacts to a video. Okay, take an hour off. Debate Lord liberalism and all of it this entire time has been that? Yes. That's why it's very frustrating. As much as I loved your OG theory streams, I get you can't go over State and Revolution with a number of watchers. You still do a great job drip feeding Chad leftist takes. It's up to them to go watch like Hakeem or and them to get deeper into shit. Anyway. This would have never happened if you played Disco Elysium all day. I agree. Yeah, it's like chatters will come in here, say something that's clearly contentious, and in a way that like is so grating to me, specifically because like it's like when that Catboy conversation happened, right? Love Catboy, okay, but like they were attacking me on the angle of like you didn't do a good job defending trans rights, which is so deeply frustrating, right? And it was literally because I wasn't like in the most neurodivergent way immediately dropping specific numbers about like trans people participating in sports, and instead hand waving it away by saying who gives a fuck, because the who gives a fuck of that situation is an infinitely better way to have that conversation. Okay? It is. Some of you have maybe even found yourselves originally making that kind of talking point to try to have like a reasonable conversation with someone, like dealing with your interlocutors in good faith. In many circumstances, dude, I don't care about this, and you shouldn't either. As a matter of fact, I think you're lying about caring about this. Is sometimes going to be a significantly easier and better way to bring in normies in that situation. Okay? A fact that I think also Catboy personally recognized too. Okay? How come Chad doesn't know that you're not supposed to start the conversation with your conclusions? You have to build up with supporting evidence. There is so many people saying you should do that. You should just like give your conclusion immediately and drive home the conversation. Okay? Republicans, conservatives, or those who are tackling an issue from the right-wing perspective can always utilize the pre-existing oppressive constructs to their advantage by saying, this is common sense, what the fuck are you saying, and own you by pointing to how objective they are looking at a situation. If you talk about, for example, American foreign policy, it's infinitely easier to declare an American foreign adversary to be the most vicious, villainous society we've ever seen, worse than the Nazis even, okay? That, in and of itself, is an easy argument to make because you don't even need to make an argument. Everyone else has made the argument before you. You need to just take that for granted, okay? And just reinforce the narrative, the prevailing narrative. Whereas, if you are trying to fucking cut through that and communicate your perspective, you need to first dismiss their talking point, okay? Then you need to explain how certain things are. And sometimes in order to explain what the alternative is, you also have to engage with a little bit more extra work. You have to give background. You have to give historical context. Because that historical context is not there for the average person. I know this as a communicator, okay? I know this as someone who does this professionally. That's why I do what I do in the way that I do it. I might not be the best debater in general, okay? But this is how it works. Especially because my goal isn't necessarily to like ridicule my opponent in that situation, especially if it's one who I appreciate, admire, like is my co-host, okay? And instead is to communicate a message as positively as possible while simultaneously keeping in mind the entire fan base is also watching. There is a there's a delicate craft of trying to convince someone who is not willing to be convinced. What? I ran the 3-minute ad break already. 20 minutes ago, I did it. Anyway. You sound like those car dealership guys. What? What do you mean? Car dealership guys are very good at sales. So, I will take that as a positive. What? Still, maybe you just get leftist sarcasm confused since this chat. Same could be said about you out of context. What do you mean? You're on the list in the main website. Scroll down. Yeah, I know. I have Twitch drops for Cyberpunk. I'm one of the people that will have a unique drop for playing Cyberpunk. Not 2.0, the DLC. It's not like a paid sponsorship or anything. They just gave me a drop. And I said yes to it because I've been very fucking stoked to play it. Where were we? The most annoying thing is that chatters criticize you for making points, for not making points you did make. I know. And then, because oftentimes debate perverts rarely ever fucking want to recognize when they're in the wrong, they just go, oh, well, I didn't hear it because you didn't hammer home that point. It's like, at that point, that's on you, man. That's 100% on you, dog. The fuck do you mean that's my fault? Anyway, it was a really good, I think overall, it was a really good, very productive conversation, very good, productive back and forth. I will not be hearing any bad faith criticism. If you have something to say in good faith, I'm here for it. I will listen to you, but, you know, like even that guy is like, oh, why didn't you bring up examples that I wanted to bring up of cooperative corporations? Goes, it was good overall. It's like, oh, thanks, man. Ethan didn't learn anything. It doesn't matter. Anyway. More UAW strikes coming. Fuck this socialism shit. Yeah, it's over. The socialism shit is over for me, dog. 100%.